Good morning, church. All right. If you are visiting with us today, I welcome you. We welcome you. I'm not Stephen. My name's Jacob. I'm the youth minister here. Stephen is on vacation for the next 2 Sundays. Well, I guess his sister's getting married next Sunday, so that's pretty important. So you'll get to hear from me for the next 2 Sundays. I apologize next Sunday if I don't see any of you here, then I understand. But like I said, I'm the youth minister, so I get to have a little fun with my sermons. That's what my job title says, is when you preach, you get to have fun. So we're going to have some fun today. I'm excited to be here. One thing that I failed to mention last Sunday, so I'll mention right now, make an announcement. The youth group, we are doing our food drive for the pantry again. This year, July is our food pantry food drive month. We'll actually extend it 1 extra week through the first week of August, since I forgot to mention it last week. We have 42 items so far. If we get 750 items, you'll get to watch me be pied in the face by the teens in front of all of you. If we get 1,000 items, then you'll get to see me and Stephen get pied in the face from the teens. And I've already said if we get 750 items, I'm donating 250 items so that we both get pied in the face. So either way, you get 750 items, both of us are getting pied in the face. So if that's enticing to you, there is a list of the needed items in the midweek bulletin, so that would be great to just help us fill that pantry again. That's a great ministry that we have here at the church. As you can see, we're going to be talking about the story of Noah. So let's go ahead and pray before we get started. God, I just come to you now and I thank you for this day. God, thank you for allowing us to come together and just learn from you. God, I pray that you just use me as your vessel. Any word that I say is from you. God, move me out of the way and just let your spirit work. God, thank you for bringing us all here. And it's in your precious and holy name that we pray. And amen. Let's see. All right. So Hero Academy, Finding Our Powers Through Christ. This is our VBS title for this year. VBS is August 9th through 11th. If you are wanting to help out, please see me. But this is what we've been preaching on. Stephen took 2 weeks, the past 2 weeks, to preach on the Hero Academy. I'm taking the next 2 weeks, and then the third week, so I think it turns out that it's July 21st, we will be co-preaching. So that's going to be interesting. It's going to be the first time that we've done it, so it'll be very fun. But Hero Academy, where I kind of wanted to go with it, first off, I'm a nerd and love superheroes. And second off, I think that it's important, these principles that we are preaching on, that we're going to be teaching on during VBS, I think are very valuable for the kids. So the first Sunday that Stephen preached, if you weren't here, or if you were and forgot, we learned how to find strength through the story of Samson. Last week, if you were here, we learned about finding our confidence through the story of Esther. So this week, we're going to learn endurance from the story of Noah. And so this is an interesting story to think of endurance for. And so I'm going to try to break it down as best I can with the time that we have. But again, youth minister, get to have fun. So I have a couple volunteers. So come on up to Lena and Addie. What's going to happen is as I preach, you guys are going to have to either pay attention to me or pay attention to them. What they're going to do is whenever I say go, they're going to walk, jog, run around the auditorium the whole time. The whole time that I preach, they'll be walking around the auditorium. Okay? You guys might get tired by watching them. I probably will get tired by the time they make it to the second post. So, you girls can go whenever you're ready. And we're going to start out in 1 Corinthians 9, in verses 24 through 27. That's the scripture reading that was read, and I'm just going to read it again. Do you not know that in a race all the runners run, but only one gets the prize? Run in such a way as to get the prize. Everyone who competes in the games goes into strict training. They do it to get a crown that will not last, but we do it to get a crown that will last forever. I'm going to stop there. When I was baptized, these verses were introduced to me. I was baptized June 17th of 2010, and so I decided I wanted to start reading my Bible. My friend showed me this passage, and it really spoke to me. I don't know why it did. I'm not a runner. I wasn't a runner. I wasn't athletic. I was not, this was probably the furthest passage from entering my soul as possible, but it did. So it's always been my favorite passage, these 4 verses. And so junior year of my college life, I decided that I wanted to become a runner. I decided that I think running a 5K would be awesome. Don't know why, that's 3 miles. But I wanted to do it. So there was a training camp, like a 10-week training camp up in Parkersburg through the Mid-Ohio Valley Runners and Walkers Club. And my best friend and I in college, we decided we're going to do it. So we went ahead, signed up, did 10 weeks of running. So every Tuesday you would meet at the city park, and they would tell you how much to run, how much to walk. And then every day they would have a pace for you. So you started out running a quarter mile, walking a quarter mile, running a quarter mile. And then after 10 weeks, you were able to run a 5K. And I did. And my goal for that 5K was that I would not stop running. Even if it meant that I was just jogging in place at one point, walking, kind of jogging, I was I'm still jogging, we're good. And I made it. 38 minutes was my time. It was great. I was not first, but I was not last. It was awesome. So how are you girls doing? Are we slowing down? No, you're good? All right. So we're going to go into Genesis. We're going to start at Genesis chapter 6, if you want to turn there with me. There's this guy named Noah, and I think the most difficult part about this sermon series that I found out this past week was, how do I tell this story that I'm going to be teaching children that we learned when we were children to adults and give them a new principle to think about? And that's how, I was everybody knows the story of Noah. Everybody knows that he builds this big ark. Everybody knows that he brings animals 2 of a kind. Everybody knows that the flood comes. They're the only ones on the boat. And then the end of the story. Everybody knows that. How do I bring a new principle to that? And so we're going to start in verse 9 of chapter 6. This is the account of Noah and his family. Noah was a righteous man, blameless among people of that time, and he walked faithfully with God. Noah had 3 sons. Now the earth was corrupt in God's sight and was full of violence. God saw how corrupt the earth had become, for all the people on earth had corrupted their ways. You guys are walking now. Are you getting tired? There you go. All right. So God said to Noah, I am going to put an end to all people, for the earth is full with violence because of them. I'm surely going to destroy both of them and the earth. So make yourself an ark of cypress wood. Make rooms in it, coat it. So he goes into this. This is exactly how I want you to build this ark. Now, Noah was about 500, a little over 500 years old whenever God called him to build this ark. I'm 26, and if somebody were to say build an ark, I'd be like, I'm tired just thinking about that. 500 years old, and God's like, hey, you're in great health. Let's go ahead and build this humongous ark. It's about the span of a football field and a half, and about 7 floors high. You've got some little stables in there because we're going to have you bring some animals in. We're going to make the first world zoo. So, Noah's zoo was the first zoo. I'm sorry, to Cincinnati and Columbus, to anybody else who thinks that they were the first zoo. Noah had the first zoo. And so we know the story. We know that Noah brings in his kids and his kids' wives and his wife and all of these animals, and they get saved from the flood that lasted 40 days and 40 nights. We know that story. But my question is, how did Noah do that? And what I like about the Bible, but at the same time, I'm like, come on, why don't we have all of the details? Like, I'm a very detailed person. Like, how did he do this? How many years did it take him? How long? Like, all we know is that Noah was roughly 500 years old, and at 600 years, because it says whenever he was 600, that's when the rain started. So in, let's say, 80 to 100 years, Noah built this ark. 80 to 100 years, our lifetime, he built the ark. That's insane to think about. That I don't want to take 10 years. Like, we have a Hobby Lobby finally coming to Parkersburg. I know that we don't have one down here, but we have one coming to Parkersburg, and it's been about 4 months, and people have been like, when's it going to open? It's been 4 months. Come on. 80 to 100 years is how long something took to be built. And Noah was patient with it. Noah was patient by building this ark. How are you ladies doing? You're slowing down a little bit. You're good? You don't have to run. You can walk. So, 80 to 100 years is how long Noah took to build this ark. That takes so much patience. That takes so much dedication. And that takes a lot of trust. Because not only did Noah do this, and it says in verse 22 of chapter 6, Noah did everything just as God commanded him. It was not, Noah questioned God, like, are you really going to send this flood? What are you wanting me to do exactly? Why am I doing that? No, it was Noah did as God commanded. Without hesitation. Noah was like, all right, I got this. Let's build this ark. And so that takes a lot of trust as well, because you have to trust that in time God's going to send this flood. Because I'm going to spend, well, I guess he lived to be about 900, so he spent a tenth of his life building this ark. 10% of your life building something, you have to trust that it's going to happen and that it's going to pay off. So Noah had endurance. Endurance is something that you start and you keep going and there's a finish. It's that race that we run to get that imperishable prize. It's that race that we run for heaven. Noah had this endurance. And to have endurance, you have to have patience and trust. You have to be able to trust that you're going to get this prize, that there's going to be an end goal. But you, at the same time, you have to be patient getting there. You're going to get tired. Are you girls tired? Okay, keep going. It was like an N, yes. I mean, they're still fine. They're young. They've got a lot of energy in them. We're going to burn it off. You're welcome, parents, for the nap that's going to happen later. But endurance, you're going to get tired. I'm sure Noah went out some days at like 100 degrees and was like sweating, but still building a little by little. Like, I'll do one nail today. That's about all I got in me. But he still did it. He was patient with it, because he trusted that there was that end. He had that endurance to battle to the end. And so I go back to that 1 Corinthians chapter 9. We run a race. Some run a race to get a prize that's going to perish. Like that 5K that I did, everybody wanted to be the first one to cross the finish line because they got the gold medal or they got a check worth like $15. Good job. But that's going to go away. We in our Christian lives, we run that race for the imperishable prize of heaven. We get heaven at the end of our finish line. And we're going to make it. It just might not be in the time that we want it to be. We have to be patient with it. And there's so much trust that is built there, because we trust this book that we read from. We trust a God that we talk to and that we hear from. We trust that there's a heaven and a hell. We trust that there's something there that we're running this race to. Because if we didn't have anything to run for, why would we do it? I was talking to one of my friends, and she doesn't believe in heaven or hell. And I asked her, I said, then why are we here? What's the point? Why do you wake up in the morning? Why do you go? And she just kind of looked at me and was like, it just got real deep right here. And I'm like, I'm just wondering, like, I want to know. For my understanding, but for your understanding, I'm running this race called life to get this prize of heaven. And Noah, at the end of everything, God says, come out of the ark. I've wiped the earth, and you're going to rebuild it. You're going to restart it. But I'll never do that again. And so Noah has children and multiplies plenty. And there's that end goal. For 900 years, Noah lived, and God found favor in him. For 900 years, Noah had that endurance. For 80 to 100 years, Noah had the endurance of building an ark that he had to be patient for, that he had to trust that there really was an end goal. But I go back to this to say, in our lives, in our walks, in our runs in this Christian life, we're going to get tired. These two started out running. They were going strong running, and they're kind of slowing down now to the point, how are you girls doing? To the point that they have to muster out a woo. Like they were ready to go and show you guys what they had. And it's been, 15 minutes, maybe 10 minutes? Good job. You guys got it. Feels like an hour. So we're going to get tired. We're going to wear down. And actually, whenever I asked them in class if they would do this for me, I'm picking on Addie for a second because she said something that really stuck with me. She said, she was talking to Talina, and she goes, I'm going to stick beside you so I'm not alone. How true is that? How can we take that in our walks, in our runs, in our ways to get to this finish line? She wanted to stick by Talina so that she wasn't over here and Talina was over there, so that you guys had to focus on her. She didn't want to be by herself. She didn't know if she could do it by herself. But once she has one friend there, she's able to do it. She's keeping up. And that's how we are in our Christian lives. We're not going to be able to do it alone. We're not going to be able to do it quickly. We're going to have that patience. We're going to have that trust, and not only that there is that finish line, but that we have people beside us. You girls can sit down now. Thank you. Round of applause. Yes. I got their exercise for the day. I should have done that. Then that would have been all of my steps for the day. Man. Anyway. But yeah, so have endurance. Run that race. You're going to get tired, but we're here to pick you up. You're going to fall. You might fall, but we're here to grab you and say, come on, let's go. There is a better finish line than one that you're going to get a gold medal to. The story of Noah. It's what we're going to be teaching the kids during Hero Academy for VBS. Have endurance like Noah. Build that ark. Trust that ark is going to be worth it. Trust that the people that pull you down from building that ark are not going to be there because they're not truly firm with you. But trust the people that are close to you and that are going to pick you up, are going to say, come on, let's go. One last thing. A month ago, about a month and a half ago now, I finally got back into running. Most of you, and I appreciate you all saying that I look great. I have lost 67 pounds since February. Thank you. I don't mean to say that as clap for me. I'm finally at a healthier weight to where I can get back into running. So I got back into running about a month and a half ago. I did a 5K with my friend up in Parkersburg. They do like a color run where you run with a white shirt and they throw a bunch of smoke colors on you, and then you inhale them, and then you're like dying. But that's besides the point. My friend was like, I ran this last year. And I said, okay. And she said, I want to beat my time from last year. I said, what was your time? I just got into running, and like, I can't run. She said, my time was 42 minutes. I said, okay, I'll do you one better. We're going to do 40 minutes. And she said, there's no way I'm doing 40 minutes. I haven't ran since last year's color run. I said, we're going to do 40 minutes. So we started off, and you know how like whenever you're first baptized, you're like, I'm on fire for God. I'm going to read my Bible all the time. Do you want? Let me show you Jesus. That's kind of how it is with running. You're like starting off at the start, and you're going, and then about half a mile in, you're like, why am I doing this? What is the point? And that's where she felt, and so she stopped running. She started walking, and here I am, and I'm like, no, we're not going to stop. We're going to do that 40 minutes. And so I'm running sideways. I'm running backwards. I'm like, come on, let's go. So we get there. We're at like 2 miles, and we're both like, but I'm like doing the jog run, where I'm making sure that I stay positive. We get to about 3 miles. So 5K is 3.1 miles or 3.2 miles. I always forget. But so we get around like where we have a quarter mile left. And I'm like, Tina, we're going to beat this 40 minutes. And she's like, no, go on without me. So I do the bad friend thing, and I go on without her because I wanted to beat the 40 minutes. So I'm like sprinting the last quarter mile, and I made it in 38 minutes and 35 seconds. I was like, yeah, that's awesome. I beat 40 minutes. Well, I see her like down the road, and I look at the time, and it's like at 39 minutes, and I yell, Tina, you can still make it. And I see her just pick up and run, and I'm like, I follow her, and I'm running beside her. I'm like, come on. And she crossed that finish line at 39 minutes and 58 seconds. She made it to her 40-minute goal, and I was so happy for her. I said, you have that endurance in you. You just had to have somebody bring it out. We have that endurance in us to fight, to run, to go for this heavenly prize. If you need somebody to help you let it out, if you haven't started that race, why not today? Why not get the help that you need today? Or why not start that race today? If you've decided to take on